Let us now consider the joints and ligaments that pertain to clavicle. Okay, we will consider the medial end first here. In this picture, you are seeing the right and left clavicles articulating with the sternum in the center. You are also seeing right and left first ribs that are inferior to the clavicle. On this side, the joint between sternum and clavicle is seen, and that joint is called sternoclavicular joint, and it is a synovial joint. Okay, and this joint is supported by many ligaments that support the medial end of clavicle. You can see all those ligaments here in this picture. For example, this ligament that is stretching between right and left clavicles, that is the interclavicular ligament, because anything inter is between two things. Whereas this ligament over here between clavicle and sternum, that is the sternoclavicular ligament. Whereas you're also seeing a third ligament here. Of course, you can also see it there. It is seen on both the sides. And this ligament, as you can see, is running between first rib and the undersurface of clavicle. Anything that pertains to ribs goes by the term costa. So this ligament is named the costoclavicular ligament. So those are the ligaments on the medial aspect. Now let us see the same joint from a different view. This is a superior view picture, that is the sternal end or the medial end of clavicle. Okay, and the sternum is over there, sternum bone seen faintly. That joint is a sternoclavicular joint, and those ligamentous fibers that you're seeing, they are the sternoclavicular ligament. Moving on to the lateral end, you can also see the lateral end. The lateral end of clavicle articulates with another bone. I hope you already know what this bone is. This is scapula. You might not have yet learned scapula, but it is worthwhile learning some parts of scapula right now. For example, this projection that is projecting anteriorly, squarish projection, that is called the acromion, whereas this projection over here, which is in the shape of a tip of your finger, that is called the coracoid process. Lateral end of clavicle articulates with acromion, and there in between both of them, again over here there is another synovial joint, and that is acromioclavicular joint, and the ligament that supports the joint is the ligament of same name, acromioclavicular ligament. There are other ligaments that support the lateral end that are seen better in a different view. So we have come to this view, which is an anterior view. Here you can see clavicle, and underneath clavicle you can see coracoid process of scapula. And what do you see stretching between clavicle and coracoid? You see two big strong bands of ligaments, and they are named coracoclavicular ligaments. And or you can say that the coracoclavicular ligament, it exists as two separate bands. And of course, you are also seeing in this picture that ligament that we have just seen. What is that? Between clavicle and acromion, that's the acromioclavicular ligament. Okay, so that is about the ligaments that support clavicle. Now let us see on a separate individual clavicle where each ligament is attached. Towards the lateral end, we have the attachment of acromioclavicular ligament. Towards the very medial end, sternoclavicular ligament, and to some extent even the interclavicular ligaments. Whereas if you consider a rough impression that you see on the inferior surface, and this rough impression is closer to the medial end, that area is for the attachment of costoclavicular ligament, and another rough impression that is closer to the lateral end of the bone, that is for coracoclavicular ligaments. Okay, so those are the joints and ligaments that pertain to clavicle.